I think the universal nature of knowing that somebody was crying out for help and knowing that an agent of the state was ignoring those cries in the middle of a pandemic, in the middle of a presidential race where racism was being used as a political weapon, I think it all really became too much for the country. This is not just about George Floyd versus Derek Chauvin, two men who met on May 25th, 2020. This is about the Americas that they lived in. And George Floyd lived in an America that was not fair to him, that was disproportionately cruel to him. He was struggling to breathe long before he met the police officer that killed him. George Floyd faced a number of issues that face a lot of Black Americans across the country. He faced living in the projects. In the place where he lived, it was 99% Black, and it happened to be a place that was almost completely impoverished. He faced underfunded, segregated schools. There was not much diversity, in part because that's the way the government designed the system to be. The criminal justice system, which was waiting for him after he finished school and didn't have a college degree, didn't have that strong of an education. And there are still people that are dealing with those very issues. Not everyone is killed by the police. Not everyone has that tragic ending, but people are dealing with a lot of the things that George Floyd dealt with. And that's why his story is so relevant, not only to Black Americans, but to white Americans, because we all live in this country. We all are responsible for the outcome of this country. One of the things that was incredibly fascinating was going back into George Floyd's family history. His great-great-grandfather was born enslaved, but through hard work and through pursuing the American dream was able to amass 500 acres of land in North Carolina in the late 19th century. Unfortunately, all of that land was taken away from him through racism, through unscrupulous business deals by people that wanted to target his wealth. And you think about what George Floyd's life would have been like if that land would have been passed down to him. He would have started his life with an inheritance that would have put him on an even playing field with several people that ended up becoming successful in life. Despite having several generations of hardworking ancestors, George Floyd came into the world poor. I think that's something that says something about what the country is and who gets to benefit from hard work from their ancestors and who doesn't. In the 2 years since George Floyd died, the country has changed. It's changed in a number of different ways. We've seen a number of different local laws be changed. We've seen people more willing to engage with the issue of institutional racism and acknowledge that it actually exists. We've seen corporations change their policies and put more money and more resources into diversity and making sure that they are more respectful of people like George Floyd. But at the same time, we've seen this major backlash. We've seen people talk about critical race theory and banning books and being angry that the country started to come together around a racial justice movement. So we are seeing and living through that backlash, but we do know that he was able to galvanize a movement. People are talking about racism in a different way and acknowledging and grappling with some of the things that he faced in his life. And that's part of his legacy, the fact that those conversations are ongoing.